Hey guys, Argent here. So the Oscars recently happened. I have no idea what won. I think it was The Revenant. I didn't even look at it because, frankly, the Oscars are bullshit, and they've been bullshit for a long time now. There's a lot of reasons why I hate them. I think the most kind of blatant reason I hate the Oscars is most of the movies don't actually come out in the year that they say they come out. Like American Sniper was released after the year it was nominated in. So was Birdman. So was like most Oscar-nominated movies are not released when they're supposed to be released. Like I think The Revenant was released in like January. Yeah, like these movies aren't released. Like they're released in like one theater and then they're given wide release during the Oscar season, and it's dishonest. Plus, they always nominate the kind of the same type of movie. It's always like a historical drama, like with featuring a moderately important historical event. It's just always really kind of boring and lame and stupid, and I just really don't watch them anymore. I haven't watched them since The Dark Knight got didn't even get nominated, despite them nominating like I forget it was 10 movies and didn't get nominated, despite making a shitload of money and getting really good reviews. So this is my pick for the top 5 movies of 2015. Overall, I thought it wasn't a very good year for movies. I struggled to come up with 5 that I'd even put on this. I thought 2014 was a lot better. If people want, just post a comment. If I get a couple people asking me, I'll do one for 2014. Maybe I'll do like a series. Maybe I'll do my top 10 movies. As you may have noticed, given the number of reactionary reviews I've done, I'm a huge movie fan. I guess you can call me a movie buff. I don't exactly like the term, just because a lot of movie buffs I know are kind of assholes. But at any rate, let's go through Argent's top 5 picks for the best movies of 2015. Let me see. I don't really have a song because I'm tone deaf. I don't know. What should I sing? It's the final countdown. I can't use more than 5 seconds of this song without getting sued. See what I mean by tone deaf. So, number 5. Furious 7. See what I mean? I kind of had to do a bit of a stretch to get 5 movies together for this. So Furious 7 was, I thought, one of the most excessively over-the-top, absurd, kind of dumb fun action movies. If you want just a action movie and you want a lot of action, this film has so much variety and just so much crazy shit. I can't believe it. There's like a scene in the movie where they're jumping between different, like the 2 main towers in Dubai, or the 3 main towers in Dubai, in like a supercar, and they like jump from like the 70th floor, and then they land on the 60th floor on the next tower over, then they jump to the next tower, and then they use that to get to the ground, which is just absurd. There's a big 15 to 20 minute chase scene where they're having a like they drop in their cars using like parachutes, and then they have like this big driving combat scene along the side of a cliff with a huge truck and guns and shit. It's a lot of fun. Um, there's a scene where there's like hand-to-hand combat scenes. Like Vin Diesel gets into like a couple big fights with Jason Statham's character, and that's just awesome. There's a fucking over-the-top scene at the end where they're fighting a drone, or was it a helicopter? They're fighting drones and helicopters, and I think it's San Francisco or Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, and they're just driving through the city, just blowing shit up. There's a part where The Rock picks up a chain gun and just starts blowing the crap out of stuff. It's just so over the top. It's just so much testosterone, so much blowing shit up. It's just really fun movie. I also like kind of the themes in the Fast and the Furious movies. In a funny way, they're kind of conservative because it's all about family. It's all about loyalty. In this one, kind of one of the main things of the movie is about ensuring a safety for Paul Walker's character. Because he's gotten married, he's kind of settled down. He has a child now, and there's another child on the way, and he wants to kind of solve all of their outstanding issues so that he can settle down and have a good life. And there's kind of a scene at the end where they're all on the beach watching Paul Walker playing with his children, and they say that's all what it's all about. And Dominic is really kind of like the patriarchal male figure. He's like an alpha male, and he's like, his whole thing is, I'm the alpha male, you don't fuck with my family. If you fuck with my family, I'm gonna kill you. I'm the patriarch in this family. If anyone gets in trouble, I'm gonna go save them. There's even a scene where they like the one person's typing them, and she's like Alpha pointing to him, and then she points to Paul Walker. She's like other Alpha, and then we got The Rock, who's also an Alpha, and they refer to him as being an Old Testament fire and brimstone cop. So there's just so many fucking alpha males beating the shit out of bad guys over honor. There's always kind of a religious aspect to these movies. Dominic is implied to be a fairly devout Catholic despite his various things. Um, it's revealed that he actually got married, which makes him less degenerate. Paul Walker and Jordana Brewster got married. It's just they're kind of conservative in a kind of a strange way. I guess they're kind of multicultural and globalist, but just they're so fucking masculine and they're just so family driven. I can't help but love this movie. If you're looking for a fun film, you can't go wrong with Furious 7. Now I know I didn't do a reaction review of this movie because I couldn't really think of much to say. Someone told me, Argent, we really don't want you to just do a review and say that you like the movie. You have to kind of like have a bit more to it than that. So I kind of took that to heart, and that's why I didn't do one for The Martian. The Martian is just an overall good movie. There's not really a lot of depth to it, but it's very kind of detailed scientifically. There's like a lot of kind of like creative building things. Basically, the premise for those of you who don't know is Matt Damon gets left behind on Mars, and he has to survive a full year on Mars by himself with a limited amount of resources until they can send a rescue team to come and help him. So a lot of the movie is him trying to get in contact with the people from Earth. Him trying to get to like grow food for himself, so he like grows potatoes, which is pretty cool, and he has to like build stuff to do that. He has to salvage all this different equipment, and he has to get to a rocket that they had landed on the planet previously to get off of it, and the team like comes back to save him. There's a lot of good music in it. Matt Damon kind of goes crazy, and he just starts swearing, and he has a lot of kind of funny jokes and pop culture references. There's lots of kind of fun drama back on Earth. There's plenty of stellar performances, including a career best for Matt Damon, a decent performance by Sean Bean. Just overall, it's just a good, fun movie. It's got a lot of good tension. You don't really know where it's going, and they present a lot of good science and kind of a sense of adventure that's really been lacking from a lot of sci-fi movies lately. It's not really existentialist. It's not really addressing some kind of meta issue. It's just a fun adventure movie on an alien world. So I highly recommend The Martian. It's just a good fun film. Okay, my number 3 pick for movie of the year is The Big Short. This one's a bit political. Some people might say it's fairly left-wing. It kind of is in a certain sense. I really like the movie. You can check out, I'll try to remember to post a link. I did a reaction review of this one, actually. It's overall, it's trying to take an extremely complicated event, which is the financial crisis, which no one fucking understands, and kind of portraying it in a very accessible, simple, straightforward manner. And it largely succeeds. To be fair to the film, I don't know if anyone could, like, explain the financial crisis, and the movie kind of pokes fun at it. It takes a very dark, kind of boring topic and makes it really interesting. The characters in it are really eccentric and compelling, and it really flushes them out a lot. You kind of get a very good sense of the different kind of competing forces that contributed to the financial crisis. Overall, I just say it's a really solidly done movie with good characters, great performance, particularly from Steve Carell and Christian Bale. There's a lot of twists and turns in it. Even though you know the financial crisis is coming, you don't know how it's going to happen. It's very funny. It's very kind of darkly humorous, but has a lot of heart. I don't really know what else I can say. I'll post a link to my review of it. Overall, I think it's just a good movie. For a lot of different reasons. It may, if you, some of the people in this channel, particularly if you're a hardcore capitalist, may not like it. It's an excellent movie, though, and it well deserves to be number 3. It Follows is one of the best horror movies in years. It's an absolute pleasure to watch this film. I had no idea where it was going, which is always good. It really kind of returns horror to its roots. I kind of view horror as being a fundamentally conservative movie genre, despite kind of the sexploitation, etc. Horror is normally kind of based around the idea of original sin, where the characters do something, be it having underage sex, be it cheating someone, be it stealing, and then they're punished for it. Like if we look at Psycho, she steals money and then she's killed basically in kind of a karmatic thing as punishment for her sins. There's always the idea that there's some original sin that triggers the release of some immense hatred or some immense evil into the world. It's kind of Lovecraftian horror is kind of a refinement of that, where the universe is full of deep evils, and if you don't expose yourself to them, they can't see you. But as soon as you kind of seek the forbidden knowledge comes after you, which was kind of like The Ring was a really good example of Lovecraftian horror. And this film's a lot like this. Basically, it features an STD, a sexually transmitted demon, and what happens is if you have sex with someone, the demon is transferred to them. The demon is always slowly chasing the person who is infected by the demon. If you have sex with someone, then the demon gets transferred to them, the demon starts chasing them and tries to kill them. So the idea is you just have an endless chain of people passing along the demon, and it's kind of like the spread of degeneracy. And if someone dies, then the demon immediately goes back after the person the demon was previously after. So it was a very kind of interesting movie. It frequently kind of deals with the idea of impending death, how death will eventually come to us all. There's lots of kind of creative ways that they try to get away from the demon. They set up traps to try and trap the demon. The ending's very ambiguous. Like it's kind of hard to tell what ultimately kind of happens in the end. Do they get away from it? Do they not get away from it? It's implied there's going to be a sequel. Just a lot of good acting all around. They kind of cast largely unknown actors who delivered a very solid performance. It's very believable. It has some really good cinematography of Detroit, kind of the nicer parts of the city. And kind of the ruined nature of it really kind of serves as a good backdrop. The film is, to a certain extent, can be seen as kind of a metaphor for societal and moral degeneracy. And almost as if it's kind of almost as if, as with is proper for a horror movie, there's a karmatic punishment who's chasing us down as a result of kind of our license, etc. Because if people hadn't have just been having rampant sex, the demon never would have spread. But everyone's having rampant sex, and no one will really take responsibility for it. So the demon is just chasing them. I mean, eventually the idea would be if it ever stopped, and it just kind of went down the tree, eventually it would get back to the first person who summoned it, and then the thing would end. Because by and large, at the moment, all they could really do is just keep transferring it from one person to another. And eventually, if this keeps going, who knows what percentage of the population will be in the line to be executed. It'd be interesting to know how it works if someone from the tree dies from a different cause. I would assume the demon just skips over them, but it would be an interesting concept. Overall, though, this movie is just excellent in pretty much every way, and is my number 2 pick for movie of the year. Yep, my number 1 pick is Mad Max Fury Road. When I saw the trailer from this movie, I'm like, that looks fucking amazing. The music, just the insanity of it. This film is just so much fun. I actually gave this, like, I think a 9.5 out of 10 when I first watched it. When I watched it subsequently, I thought this movie was even better. Everything about this movie is just great. The film is, my understanding, a sequel to Beyond the Thunderdome, despite the fact that Max is younger because it's played by a new character, by a new actor. The movie more or less is about the attempt of Imperator Furiosa to escape Immortan Joe and get his wives to the Green Place, which is kind of a mythical place of safety. She is joined by Mad Max, who as always manages to stumble across kind of a classical conflict of good versus evil. So Max kind of takes part in it, but the real movie, the movie's kind of strongest suit is the action scenes. The action scenes aren't just any bland generic action scenes. They went all out to make just the most creative stuff possible. This movie is just really interesting. Like you got the normal cars, you got the war rig, which is like a giant nitro boosted truck, kind of like the thing from the Road Warrior. You got like assault bikes. You got these guys on like basically they have like these acrobatic guys who attack. You got all kinds of creative weapons. You got like harpoons. You got guns. You got explosives. You got oil slicks. Um, you have just weird stuff like you have the crow catchers who are like these weird women who walk around on stilts. Um, you have a Morden Joe. You have just this crazy, almost kind of comic book like camera style that keeps doing all these extreme close ups, and people keep looking at the camera. And there's just excellent music. The pacing's great. It's just so crazy and over the top. It's an absolute just kind of visual treat. And the actual movie is fairly touching. I mean, it's an action movie, but it means it's kind of smarter. You're kind of told a limited part of the story, but from what you can gather, the film's really interesting and really engaging. Mad Max Fury Road is kind of like a strange cross between an action movie and an art film that kind of combines the best features of both. It's probably by far the best Mad Max movie, and hopefully it'll mean that they'll make a lot more in the future. I had kind of mixed feelings about Mad Max. I thought the first movie was trash. I thought the second movie was excellent. And the third movie was kind of a mixed bag. But this makes me excited about the franchise again. I think, what's his name? Tom Brady is around for a long time, and they make another couple ones at least. Mad Max Fury Road is an absolute joy, and it gets my choice for Movie of the Year 2015. I hope you enjoyed this. This is Argent signing out.